I scraped by telling fortunes at a street stall. I could barely even afford to eat. The owner of the steamed bun shop next door felt really bad for me, invited me over for a meal of hot steamed buns. To pay her back for the meal, I offered to do a fortune reading for her for free. Who knew the reading would reveal that her daughter would be in mortal danger very soon? The moment the owner heard her daughter was in trouble, her face dropped instantly. She shot to her feet. "What the hell are you talking about?" An old man sitting nearby jumped in shock and hurried to smooth things over. "Calm down, miss," he probably just said it off the cuff. "Just to scare people, that's all." The owner calmed herself down and asked half skeptically, "Young man, what kind of trouble is my daughter facing exactly? How do I fix it?" "I need her date and time of birth." The owner immediately reeled off a string of numbers. I calculated for a moment, then said seriously, "Her current boyfriend is the root of all this trouble. That guy has bad intentions. He's been planning to scam your daughter this whole time." The owner's expression relaxed a little. Her daughter had never mentioned having a boyfriend at all. "Looks like this young guy probably just got a few things right by luck." Her tone softened a bit. "But my daughter doesn't even have a boyfriend yet. Take a closer look again. See what kind of disaster she's actually going to face." The old man next to us also straightened up, looking totally confident. "My readings are never wrong. Maybe your daughter just didn't tell you the truth." "Oh, come on, miss. You never know with this kind of thing. Why don't you give her a call and ask?" The owner thought about it for a second and figured that made sense. So she took out her phone and called her daughter. The phone rang twice, and her daughter, Sue. He picked up quickly. "Mom, why are you calling at this time? Is something wrong at home?" The owner turned on speakerphone. "Nothing's wrong with me. I just miss you. What about you? Are you hiding something from me?" "What are you talking about?" "I would never hide anything from you. Aren't you busy at the shop right now? Why'd you call out of the blue?" "Don't change the subject. Be honest with Mom. Are you seeing someone?" Soo-hee's heart skipped a beat. That can't be right. Mom doesn't know anyone around here at all. Who would have told her? How did she find out? Who did you hear that from? "Don't worry about who told me." Soo-hee hesitated for a second and finally admitted it. "We just started seeing each other not long ago, so I haven't had time to tell you yet." "You little rascal, you really are seeing someone. If this master hadn't figured it out today, how long were you going to hide it from me?" "What master? Don't get scammed by some random guy. Scammers have so many tricks these days. Don't believe a word they say." I couldn't help but smile bitterly. She just wrote me off as a scammer right away. I spoke up. "Your boyfriend is 3 years older than you. He has a cousin who has a 1-year-old little boy. Who are you? How could you possibly know all this?" I kept talking. "That cousin is living with your boyfriend right now." Soo-hee was even more shocked now. Maybe a coworker saw her with her boyfriend. But only the three of them knew about the cousin living with them. There's no way an outsider would know that. Her tone turned harsh immediately. "Spit it out. Where did you hear all this? What do you want? If you dare scam my mom out of her money, I'll call the cops right now." I paused for a second, then asked suddenly, "You're pretty well off, right?" Soo-hee scoffed. "There's the real you, huh? Of course you're bringing up money, and you claim you're not a scammer. So what if I'm rich? You won't get a single cent out of me." I ignored her attitude and continued. "The only reason your boyfriend is with you is to scam you out of your money." Of course, Soo-hee didn't believe me. I kept explaining, "That cousin isn't actually his cousin. She's your boyfriend's wife. They got married a long time ago. That kid is theirs. But they're not married anymore now. Because to scam you out of your money, they got a fake divorce." As soon as I said that, everyone present was stunned. Soo-hee blurted out immediately, "No way, absolutely no way. He's super nice to me. He goes along with everything I want. We've been super sweet and loving this whole time. Why would he lie to me? Besides, his cousin is so quiet and gentle. Every time I come over, she always takes the kid and leaves on her own. She goes out of her way to avoid us all the time. There's no way you can tell something's off." I continued speaking. "Actually, there's no real affection between the two of them. They only stuck together for mutual benefits. That's why they hid it so well. Their target is your money. In the next day or two, your boyfriend will talk to you about investment projects. He won't ask to borrow money directly, but he'll try every trick to make you invest on your own. That boyfriend of yours is definitely not a good guy. When he first approached you, it was all pre-planned. His plan is to get as much money from you as possible before marriage. If everything goes smoothly, He'll marry you next year. As for the wedding expenses, he'll make all kinds of excuses to avoid paying. He won't pay a single cent. You'll also be responsible for living expenses after marriage. Once he's drained all your money, he'll buy you a high-value insurance policy, then he'll stage an accident and trade your life for the insurance payout. The lady boss and the old man were stunned by these words. Sui on the other end of the phone got chills down her spine. Her boyfriend did mention this a couple days ago, that he wanted to invest with his friends, but she was busy at the time, so he didn't go into details. There was no sound from the other end of the line for a long time. The lady boss started getting anxious. Sweetie, it's not too late to find out now. Break up with that bastard right now. We can't jump straight into the fire pit. Break up with him right now. Mom, don't panic. I know how to handle this. Suhi hung up the phone in a hurry. My words caused a huge wave in her heart. She couldn't calm down for a long time. After hanging up the phone, the lady boss was super excited. She held my hand tightly and thanked me over and over again. Young man, we're so lucky you warned us today. Otherwise, my daughter would have been cheated by that bad guy. Luckily, we found out early enough. As she spoke, she walked to the counter and took out 500 yen. Little master, this money is a small token of my appreciation. You have to take it. Thank you so much for helping my daughter. I took the red banknotes and put them in my pocket happily. Good deeds bring good rewards. If you hadn't bought me those buns, none of this would have happened later. It's all fate. After saying that, I turned to look at the old man. Sir? You lost this bet, right? The old man's look had already changed from disbelief to admiration. All right, this old man admits defeat. I'll pay for the buns. Little master, can you read my fortune too? Of course I wouldn't pass up a chance to make money. I nodded quickly. One reading cost 500 yen. The old man was very straightforward. He took out 500 yen and handed it to me. I took the money with a big smile and looked carefully at the old man's face. His eyes are bright, with clear whites and dark pupils. His philtrum is long. He has a very lucky face. You'll never lack food or clothes your whole life. You'll have a house full of children and grandchildren. No major disasters or difficulties. What about small misfortunes? The old man asked further. I looked at him again. There are a few small troubles, but they're all trivial matters. Not worth mentioning. The old man got anxious as soon as he heard that. Even small things are still things. Tell me what it is and how small it is. When you are 99 years old, I can live to 99. No, that's not what I meant. When you are 99, your grave will be moved. The government is acquiring land to build roads, and your family will get a huge amount of compensation. Sir, you really have great fortune. Even after you pass away, you can make money for your descendants. The lady boss couldn't help laughing out loud. Brother, your luck is really one of a kind. What kind of luck is that? I don't care about that at all. I asked the lady boss for pen and paper, drew 2-piece talismans, handed one to her. This talisman works one time. Make sure to carry it with you. It can keep you safe and turn misfortunes into blessings. I gave the other one to the old man. The old man took the talisman paper, carefully put it away. At the same time, after Suhi hung up the phone, she was on edge. She couldn't focus on the work documents in her hand at all. She simply took a leave of absence and headed straight for her boyfriend's place. Her boyfriend wasn't home. Only his cousin was there. Suhi struck up a friendly chat with her. The two gradually warmed up to each other. The cousin was totally frazzled taking care of the kid. Having someone offer to help out was exactly what she needed. While she wasn't looking, Suhi quietly plucked a few strands of hair from the kid's head. Then, under the pretense of helping tidy up the room, she found a few short hairs with follicles on her boyfriend's bed. Thinking that wasn't enough, she also collected a few cigarette butts from the ashtray. Once she got everything she needed, she made an excuse and left. Right after leaving, Suhi went straight to the hospital. She asked an acquaintance to rush the test, and got the test report in no time, staring at the paternity test result in her hand. Suhi squeezed so hard her nails almost dug into her palm. It confirmed they were father and son, just as she suspected. Holding the paternity test proof in her hand, Suhi broke up with her boyfriend without hesitation. The evidence was irrefutable. He couldn't deny it, so he had to pay back all the money he had spent from Suhi. The two cut off all ties for good. After I said goodbye to the shop owner and the old man, I strolled to a nearby park. The park was packed with people on the weekend. It was super lively. I picked a spot under a shady tree and set up my fortune-telling stall. Just when I finished setting up, a patrolling security guard walked over. He leaned in curiously. Trying to see what was written on the paper I laid on the ground, I smiled and greeted him. "Hey, sir, want to get a fortune reading?" The old man glanced me up and down twice, then turned around and left. Why is he leaving already? This old guy's pretty stubborn. I was muttering to myself when I saw him walking back carrying a loudspeaker. He hit the power button, and a loud broadcast started playing immediately. Advocate science. Stay away from superstition. The loud sound gave me a start. The old man gave me a super enthusiastic smile. He didn't say a word, just stood off to the side holding the loudspeaker. The looping broadcast drew more and more people's attention. Is this old man missing the metal element in his birth chart? Why is he only targeting me? If I wasn't already above all mortal rules now, I'd totally argue with him. So I packed up my stall and moved to another spot. Not long after I sat down, the old man slowly followed me over again. He had the loudspeaker slung over his back and paced back and forth around me. I was so frustrated. I'm just trying to make some money. Is that too much to ask? I took a deep breath. I've had enough. There's no point holding back anymore, so I decided to pack up for good. All right, sir, I'm closing my stall. I'm just taking a walk, that's allowed, right? The old man smiled warmly. Of course you can take a walk. He turned off the loudspeaker as he spoke, but still stayed standing right where he was. I took several deep breaths in a row. I kept telling myself, don't get mad. No one will suffer for me if I get sick from anger, and making the old man mad will only cause more trouble. I ignored the old man and wandered forward alone. Looking at the lively scene around me, my mood brightened up before I knew it. There were all kinds of stalls in the park, selling tons of different stuff. I looked around curiously. I wanted to buy almost everything I saw. Suddenly I stopped walking. A few people were having a picnic by the woods in the park. They were laughing and chatting non-stop. The vibe was really nice. I stared at them quietly, hesitated for a second, then finally walked over. Shenkinya, who was eating, saw me approaching and joked, "Hey, handsome, are you here to ask for our WeChat?" After hearing that, I didn't get mad. They're just a bunch of kids. They're not even older than the fraction of my age. I don't bother arguing with them. Do you guys need peace talismans? They can bless you with smooth sailing and everything, and keep evil spirits away. The security guard heard this from far away, and immediately walked over quickly with his loudspeaker. The people having the picnic all looked at me, thinking they heard wrong. Wait, this guy didn't come over to hit on us. He's actually here to sell talismans. All of a sudden, everyone looked at me with really mixed expressions. Such a shame, he's actually pretty handsome, but he doesn't seem quite right in the head. God's fair after all, huh? You should head home now. Your folks must be worried sick. Do you remember the way back? Want us to give you a ride? I just shook my head again. Are you sure you don't need a ride? But there's a person right under where you're sitting. She'll follow you around forever. Someone got annoyed. Hey, dude. Don't talk nonsense. There's no one there. I pointed at the ground right under their seats. Dig down about 1 meter from here. You'll find a woman's body. Then I pointed at another spot. Dig down around 10 centimeters from here. There's a bracelet. You can try it if you don't believe me. Some people jumped to their feet in fright. Others were still half in doubt. He sounds like he's telling the truth. Are scammers using such weird tricks these days? You drowned when you were 7. You almost didn't make it. Then you had a high fever for 3 days. Your parents got divorced when you were 18. You went to live with your mom. You had your first relationship at 20. They cheated on you half a year later. Want me to keep going? Shen Qingya's face dropped immediately. Then I walked over to the security guard uncle. Uncle, you have both a son and a daughter. You have 2 grandchildren. Your son lives abroad. You live with your daughter right now. Your wife is a retired teacher. You had a serious illness last year, right? The uncle froze on the spot. His hand that was about to press the switch stopped. His face was full of shock. Everything he said was actually right. So is there really someone buried under here? Oh my God, is there actually a corpse down there? The people having the picnic immediately remembered what I just said. They all scrambled to hide off to the side in fear. For a moment, the silence was almost eerie. Suddenly, the security uncle put down what he was holding, rolled up his sleeves and said, "I'll dig." It wasn't long before they actually dug up a bracelet. Everyone's faces went pale instantly. The uncle's hand digging the soil started shaking too. There actually is a bracelet. This has to be a coincidence, right? I didn't say anything. I just gestured for him to keep digging with my eyes. The uncle took a deep breath. He forced himself to keep digging further down. Soon, a piece of white bone appeared in front of everyone. The uncle was so scared he threw the shovel away. He jumped to the side quickly. He was surprisingly agile for his age. His face drained of all color and he tilted his head. He passed out right away. The more timid girls started crying. What do we do? There's a dead person. The others' legs went weak with fear. They looked at me in shock and terror. Are you some kind of immortal? Everyone turned to look at me at the same time. I glanced at the security uncle who was just waking up. There's no such thing as immortals. We should believe in science, right? The security uncle smiled awkwardly. His smile looked worse than a cry as he stammered. Popo, call the police. After saying that, he pinched his own philtrum to stay awake. He was gasping for air. I almost kicked the bucket just now. By then, the calmer people had snapped out of their shock. They pulled out their phones to call the police. I took the chance to start my sales pitch. Anyone need a peace talisman? Keeps you safe and wards off evil spirits, 500 yen each. Whoa, 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 whoa. No one dared to doubt what I said anymore. Several people scrambled to buy the peace talismans. They kept them close to their bodies, scared that evil things would haunt them if they waited even a second longer. The talismans sold out really fast. I was grinning from ear to ear. The uncle also held his peace talisman shakily. The loudspeaker was tossed aside. The police arrived soon after. After investigating the scene, they took all relevant people back to make statements. Meanwhile, in the criminal police team's office, a veteran with 10 years of investigative experience, Criminal Police Officer Lin Hao, was taking my statement. Witness. Tell me your name, age, and gender. Gender. Looming around 1,000 years old. Gender can be male or female. Can be male or female. What does that mean? Lin Hao thought he misheard. I answered seriously. I can be either. Whichever you need, Lin Hao said sternly. I'm warning you. Obstructing justice can result in a fine of 200 to 500 yen and impose a 5 to 10 day detention. For serious cases, you may be held criminally liable. Please answer the questions truthfully. I'm telling the whole truth. If male is not acceptable, I can put down female instead. Lin Hao was speechless for a second. He turned and wrote male on the record form. How did you find out there's a body buried there? I calculated it. Lin Hao frowned tightly. He felt he was about to lose his patience. Calculated. I nodded seriously. Yep, I really calculated it. Lin Hao gave me a skeptical glance. His gut told him this guy was talking nonsense. But the statements from other witnesses were exactly the same as what I described. Lin Hao couldn't help but second-guess himself. He's worked in criminal investigation for so many years and dealt with all kinds of people. He knows you can't judge a book by its cover. But a young guy like this, claiming he can tell fortunes, who would believe that easily? He pushed down his doubts. Lin Hao took another deep breath and forced a smile as gentle as possible. Mr. Liu, obstructing justice carries legal liabilities. Congratulations, you're going to be a father soon. Lin Hao was stunned for a moment. Your wife is pregnant, and she's carrying twins. I turned my head aside and added out of the blue, What? My wife is pregnant, and it's twins. That's impossible. Before he finished speaking, his phone on the desk started ringing. He picked it up and saw it was his wife calling. After he hung up the phone, Lin Hao's whole face lit up, his hands trembling slightly with excitement, his grin almost stretching to his ears. His wife told him she was pregnant. They'd been married for years and never had kids, and his wife had been upset about it for ages. He never expected she'd get pregnant all of a sudden. She just went to the hospital and confirmed it's twins. 2 months along already. After hanging up the call, Lin Hao was grinning from ear to ear. My wife just called. She just finished the checkup. She's pregnant with twins. 2 months along, that's amazing. Congratulations. Congrats. All the colleagues in the office came over to congratulate him. Lin Hao caught a glimpse of me out of the corner of his eye and quickly raised his hand to ask everyone to quiet down. I ignored him and turned to look at another police officer. Your mother was at the supermarket yesterday snatching discounted eggs when she twisted her ankle, right? The officer froze for a second, then nodded. Yeah, she twisted it yesterday while grabbing eggs. Just then a policewoman named Liu Li asked with a smile, Your calculations are pretty accurate, huh? So what do you see happening to me soon? You have a pretty severe cold uterus problem, and you get bad cramps every time you have your period. Lucky for you, I happen to have a talisman that works for this exact problem. Liu Li nodded in shock. That's right, every time I get my period, I'm in so much pain I can barely function. I've seen both traditional Chinese and Western doctors. They said it can only be cured slowly with conditioning. I've taken so much medicine, but it's never gotten any better. I unzipped my cloth bag and started taking things out one by one. As I took out more and more stuff, everyone around me's eyes went wide. Their jaws dropped. A stack of cash, lots of talismans folded into triangles, blank yellow talisman paper, cinnabar, a frayed writing brush, bananas, apples, and all kinds of random stuff, and soon covered the whole table. Seeing I was still taking things out, everyone in the office was shocked, silly. They all gathered around, staring at me like I was some kind of rare creature. How can this palm-sized cloth bag possibly hold so many things? Impossible, absolutely impossible. This goes against all common sense. Finally, I pulled out a triangle-folded talisman paper and handed it to Liu Li. This is a uterus-warming talisman. Stick it on your lower abdomen, and it'll be gone for good in about a month. Liu Li stared at me blankly and didn't reach for it right away. The office went completely silent. It felt like the air had frozen solid. After a long while, Lin Hao was the first to snap out of the shock, his eyes darting back and forth between me and that small cloth bag. He finally couldn't hold back and asked, "Your bag doesn't look very big. How can it hold so much stuff?" His words hit everyone's raw nerve again. I stuck a storage talisman inside my bag. This is the exact kind I used. Just stick it inside any bag, and it can hold hundreds of times more stuff than the bag's actual capacity. Everyone in the office stared at me in disbelief. Is a single piece of paper really that magical? Is this some real-life fairy tale or what? After finally pulling herself together, Liu Li quickly took the talisman with both hands. Thank you so much. I don't even know how to repay you enough." I held out my hand. "No need to be so polite. Just pay me 500 yuan, that's enough." Liu Li froze for a split second, then readily took out the money right away. I put the money away with a bright grin, and quickly stuffed all the items on the table back into my bag. Liu Li, who had put the talisman away, looked at me with sparkling eyes, muttering something silently to herself. As a police officer, I have to set a good example. I have to believe in science and resist feudal superstitions. All these principles were starting to shake a little right at this moment. Lin Hao wiped his face hard and pulled the conversation back on track. "Who is the murderer? Can you figure that out? Or can you work out any other clues?" I tilted my head and asked, "Do I get paid for this?" "Yes." After getting a positive answer, I lit up with joy right away. "Then give me the deceased's date and time of birth." "I can give it a try." "Huh? Wait a minute. We don't have that. If we knew her birth details, we would already know her identity, right? Why would we even ask you then?" I frowned a little. "Oh, right. Are you in a hurry for the result? If not, we can do this another day." "Of course we are in a hurry. The higher-ups take this case very seriously. They require us to solve it within a week, but we barely have any clues right now. All we know is the victim is female. Around 25 years old, she was likely brutally abused before she died. Almost all of her ribs were broken. Her fingers were completely shattered. She died roughly 5 years ago. Time is really tight. Just tell us whatever solution you have. In that case, there's only one way left. I can summon the deceased soul here. You can ask her whatever you want yourselves." Lin Hao's expression froze instantly. "What, kid? You want me to ask a ghost?" I must have misheard you. Can you say that again?" "I said if the deceased hasn't been reincarnated yet, I can summon her over here. You can ask her any questions directly." Lin Hao turned to look at his shocked colleague Wang Qiang and asked in a low voice to confirm. "Did he just say we need to ask a ghost?" "Yep, you heard that right." Lin Hao looked at me even more weirdly than before. "Wait till nightfall, come to the park with me." Lin Hao stayed silent for a long time, before finally making a tough decision. "Fine. We'll go with you." I smiled and held out my hand. "For field assistance like this, I don't work for free. Pay me 800 yuan first." "Okay, here's 1,000, you take it first." I took the money happily and sat in the police station, waiting for it to get dark. Late at night, I followed the 3 police officers to the spot where the body was found. The original big pit had already been filled in. I held a talisman between 2 of my fingers and chanted a few lines under my breath. The talisman caught fire on its own with no flame and burned to ashes in the blink of an eye. The ashes floated around even though there was no wind at all. Whether it was their imagination or not, all three of them suddenly felt a lot colder. An unexplainable chill ran through all of them. It felt like something was watching them right then. Wang Qiu shivered, muttering to himself. I definitely didn't wear enough clothes. If I knew it would be this cold at night, I would have worn more layers. But master, there's literally nothing here right now. Oh right, I forgot you guys can't see her. Okay, you should be able to see now. Wang Qiang blinked dramatically, then looked all around him again. There's still nothing here. As soon as he finished speaking, from the big tree ahead, all of a sudden, a female ghost hung upside down from the branches. Her long hair hung down towards the ground. There were 2 dark holes where her eye sockets should be. Blood kept pouring out of her mouth when she opened it. Her voice was muffled and unclear, as if she was saying, "Are you guys looking for me?" Except for me. Everyone else was scared out of their wits. Liuli had just started screaming. Before she could even pass out, Wang Qiang, standing right next to them, rolled his eyes back and fell straight backward. Useless, really. Liuli stared at Wang Qiang, who fainted before her, and thought to herself confusedly, "What's going on? I haven't even fainted yet. This guy passed out first." Lin Hao has worked on criminal cases for years, and always thought he had great mental toughness, but even his scalp was tingling right now. His limbs were stiff. His face looked like he'd just been struck by lightning, his pale mouth twitching uncontrollably. "Come down, we have questions for you." The female ghost instinctively sensed I was dangerous. After floating down from the tree, she hid far away, not daring to come near, with her 2 bleeding eye sockets. She stared at us both, confused and scared. "I'm Officer Lin Hao." Lin Hao forced down the fear in his heart. He and Liu Li lifted Wang Qiang's arms from either side and quickly retreated behind me. They put Wang Qiang down. Lin Hao and Liu Li quickly pulled out their guns and stood in front of me. "Xiaoxian, step back." I watched them, obviously shaking, yet still standing firmly in front of me. I felt a little touched. "Put your guns away. They don't work on ghosts. Besides, I'm here. Nothing bad will happen. Don't you have questions to ask? Hurry up and ask them." Lin Hao froze in place for a second, finally put his gun away along with Liu Li. He took out his ID and showed it to her. His expression quickly turned calm and sharp. "We're from the Criminal Police Detachment of the Municipal Public Security Bureau. We're currently in charge of investigating your murder case. We hope you can tell us your identity and any clues about the murderer to help us solve this case. The female ghost seemed like she wanted to speak, but dark red blood kept gushing out the moment she opened her mouth. She could only make vague, unintelligible sounds. No one could understand what she was saying at all. How are we supposed to communicate? I can't understand a word she's saying. I raised my hand and drew a talisman in the air. The talisman turned into a stream of light and entered the female ghost's body. Then, the female ghost's appearance started to change. In the blink of an eye, she turned into a pretty young woman. Ouch, that hurts like hell. Why am I lying on the ground? Wang Qiu rubbed the back of his head and sat up. After he saw his surroundings clearly, he remembered everything all at once. He jumped up abruptly, grabbed my arm and yelled, "Master, there's a ghost, a ghost!" I was disgusted and tried to pull my arm away, but Wang Qiang was holding on way too tight, so I gave up. I was just about to speak when I saw Lin Hao turn around and glare fiercely at Wang Qiang, his eyes clearly showing how ashamed he was of Wang Qiang's behavior. Wang Qiang awkwardly shut his mouth, but still held onto my arm tightly. He scanned around nervously, scared out of his wits. The female ghost is gone. There's just a strange girl here instead. Looks like that female ghost already left. Wang Qiang let out a long sigh of relief, let go of my arm and walked over to Lin Hao, forced a smile and greeted the woman. "Hi, I'm Wang Qiang. May I ask who you are? Why didn't I see you just now?" The female ghost ignored him, still lost in her messy thoughts. "The murderer. Who is the murderer?" She mumbled blankly, trying hard to remember something, slowly. The black mist surrounding her got thicker and thicker. It seemed like she suddenly remembered something critical. The black key suddenly surged violently. Her face twisted abruptly. "Kill him! I'll kill him!" Wang Qiang's legs went weak from fear. I frowned, raised my hand and waved it in the air. A burst of ki dispersed most of the black mist. The female ghost also came back to her senses. She lowered her head and huddled in place, trembling. "Behave yourself, answer whatever we ask you. If you act out again, I'll make your soul vanish forever. I think I should do the questioning." Lin Hao nodded. Dealing with ghosts, is really not his strong suit. What's your name? How were you killed? Who is the murderer? The female ghost started sobbing softly. The murderer is a man. I don't know him. I have no idea who he is. You don't know him. So was it for money, lust, or some kind of grudge? None of that. That man is a total monster, seeing the black mist around the female ghost about to surge again. I flicked my finger and shot a wisp of golden light, which entered her body. The black mist calmed down immediately. When Lin Hao saw the female ghost had calmed down a little, he continued to ask, Miss, tell us the whole story in detail. We will do our best to investigate and bring the murderer to justice. My name is Zhang Chenqian. I'm 20 years old. After I graduated from high school, I came to this city alone to work. That night, I got off my night shift. When I was walking through an alley, someone suddenly covered my mouth and nose from behind. When I woke up, I was locked in a room. Do you know what he did to me? He's a devil, a total lunatic. He chained me up and tortured me bit by bit. He broke my ribs, snapped my fingers off. I kept begging for mercy, but he ignored me completely. He tortured me in different ways every day. I passed out and woke up from the pain, over and over again. It was like living in hell. The female ghost screamed in grief and indignation, as if she was back to the time she was tortured. The others listened to her story and couldn't calm down for a long time. Is this even a human being? The female ghost is right. That guy is a devil, a pure demon. Lin Hao thought for a moment and asked, during this period, did he say anything? Ever since he caught me, he never opened his mouth to say a single word. Then what does he look like? I don't know. He wore a ghost mask every time he came. I never saw his face. I only remember he was quite thin, around 1.77 meters tall. Think about it carefully again. Does he have any obvious features? Oh, I remember. He has a scar on his left arm. It's round, looks like a cigarette burn mark. Once when he went out to answer a call, I vaguely heard him say his name is Luo Jiahao, but I was quite far away, so I'm not sure if I heard it right. What? His name is Luo Jiahao. What's wrong? Do you know this guy? I have a distant cousin, whose name is also Luo Jiahao. I said, do you have a photo of your cousin? I can confirm if it's him with one look. Wang Xiu immediately took out his phone and searched, and soon pulled up a photo of Luo Jiahao. I just took a glance and told Lin Hao confidently, go arrest him. He's responsible for more than one death. He has killed at least 5 people. Wang Qiang and Liu Li looked completely shocked. Lin Hao was also extremely stunned. Really? But without evidence. Our police can't arrest people randomly. We have to have solid proof. I immediately activated my heavenly eye, looked carefully and said, there's a hidden room in his basement. There's still a person locked inside right now. If we go late, he might be dead already. As for evidence, I can put a truth-telling spell on him. We'll get the evidence easily then. But this service isn't free. 500 yuan is enough. All right, we'll pay you right now. I took the money with a smile and said, you won't lose out on this deal. Plus, I'll give each of you a peace talisman for free. Keep it close to you. It can keep you safe and sound, and ward off evil spirits. 500 yen for 4 talismans. That's a super friendly price already. I took out 3 peace talismans and handed them to them, then looked at the female ghost. Come with me first. After your case is closed, I'll send you to reincarnation. The female ghost was originally full of resentment, with deep obsessions. That's why she wandered in the human world and couldn't move on to the afterlife. Now that someone promised to get justice for her, she had nothing to hold on to anymore. She nodded immediately, but she nodded too hard. Her head fell off with a thud and rolled twice. She hurriedly picked it up, put it back on her neck and adjusted it properly. Okay, I'll follow your arrangement, master. I saw Wang Qiang and Liu Li were so scared that they almost fainted again. I took out a small glossy gourd, opened the lid and mumbled a few words. The female ghost turned into a wisp of black smoke and drilled into the gourd. Lin Hao, Wang Qiang, and Liu Li put away the peace talismans carefully. Then the 3 of them all looked in unison, straight at the gourd in my hand. They were too shocked to put their feelings into words. Lin Hao and the other 2 headed back to the police station. The light in the chief's office was still on. Lin Hao knocked on the door and walked in, and gave a detailed report on everything that happened that day. Chief Zhou laughed as soon as he heard that I've been mentoring Lin Hao ever since he joined the force. After all these years, I know his personality inside out. He never buys into this kind of stuff. When Lin Hao saw Chief Zhou didn't believe him, he went through the whole story all over again and laid out his own analysis and action plan. Chief Zhou was silent for a few seconds. This sounds straight out of a horror movie. No one would buy that easily. But fine, we'll do it your way. If that Mr. Liu can really get him to spill the truth, you apply for a search warrant right away. Make sure we rescue the victim safely. After Lin Hao got the order, he immediately took his team to Luo Jiahao's residence. Luo Jiahao had just washed up and was about to rest. When he saw the group of people at his door, he looked somewhat annoyed. Lin Hao stepped forward and showed his badge. Hello, I'm Lin Hao from the City Criminal Police Team. We're working on a murder case and have some questions for you. Is it convenient for us to come in and talk? Of course. I always abide by the law. Cooperating with police investigations is a citizen's duty. Come in. I walked at the end of the group. When Luo Jiahao turned around to walk inside, I quietly stuck a truth talisman on his back. The talisman quickly seeped into his body. I gave Lin Hao a small nod. Lin Hao got the message immediately. He took out the bracelet found at the murder scene and asked, Mr. Luo, have you seen this bracelet before? Of course I have. The first woman I killed wore a bracelet exactly like this one. I saw it every single day, for a whole month. How could I not recognize it? As soon as Luo Jiahao finished speaking, his face turned completely pale instantly. He covered his mouth in horror, shaking his head frantically. No, that's not right. I wanted to say I hadn't seen it, but my mouth was totally out of my control. All my inner thoughts just came out. What the hell is going on here? Lin Hao was secretly delighted, but he kept a serious and calm expression on his face, showing no emotion at all. Looks like Mr. Liu's truth talisman really works. This guy is definitely the killer. Except for Lin Hao and Wang Qiang, none of the other officers knew about the truth talisman. Their jaws dropped in shock. They could barely believe their own ears. They looked at Luo Jiahao with total disbelief. You really see everything when you live long enough. They had never seen a killer openly admit to murder without any scruples before. Did he get hit in the head or something? Is God taking pity on us for working so hard on the case, and specially sending us such a considerate criminal? Mr. Luo, you just said you killed someone. Luo Jiahao pressed both hands tightly over his mouth, trying to stop himself from making sounds, but it was completely useless. His words still came out clearly. That's right, I killed people. And more than one. I wanted to create better works. I wanted to be famous, but I couldn't do it. Because my inspiration had long dried up, I couldn't write anything decent anymore. Until that day, I saw a person get hit by a car and die right in front of me. Blood even splashed on my face. I didn't feel scared at all. That thrilling, heart-stopping excitement brought me endless creative inspiration instead. The book I wrote blew up overnight. The more Luo Jiahao talked, the more scared he got. He was screaming wildly in his head. Stop talking, stop now. Just stop. But he couldn't control himself at all. The most hidden thoughts in his heart kept spilling out. Luo Jiahao watched helplessly as Lin Hao held up the search warrant. He felt like a thunderclap exploded in his brain. He only had one thought. It's over, I'm totally done for. Soon, several officers carried an injured person out of the basement. The officers who went inside to check came out with pale faces. Many of them threw up on the spot. The scene was simply unspeakably horrific. The injured person was rushed to hospital for emergency treatment. The subsequent investigation went surprisingly smoothly. The arrested Luo Jiahao, under the effect of the truth talisman, answered every question the police asked. He was extremely cooperative. Based on his confession, the police dug up 3 more bodies one after another. They even uncovered an unsolved murder and dismemberment case from years ago. 6 years ago, a roughly 30-year-old woman was dismembered in an extremely cruel way. The killer was extremely cunning. Dismembered body parts were dumped separately in different counties and urban areas. They didn't leave any valid clues behind. The case caused a huge stir across the whole city back then, and everyone was on edge. Lin Hao once led his team to investigate day and night, but they never found a breakthrough. The case remained unsolved for ages. It had also been a heavy weight on his chest. Until now, Luo Jiahao personally confessed. The truth finally came to light. From reopening to solving this case, it only took 2 days. The speed is totally unprecedented, way beyond Lin Hao's past case handling experience. since the previous dismemberment case offered a 50,000 yen bounty. To show his gratitude, Lin Hao specially applied for an extra 20,000 yen reward for me, making a total of 70,000 yen. When I got the reward money, my eyes crinkled into crescent moons from smiling. Lin Hao and the other two walked me warmly to the police station entrance. Mr. Liu, we couldn't have done this without your great help. I owe you big time. If you run into any trouble in the future, as long as it's not against the law, you can come to me anytime. You're too kind, Team Lin. You already paid me for this. We're even now. Don't worry about it too much. That said, Lin Hao definitely won't forget the favor he owes. Oh right, that truth talisman of yours is really awesome. If we run into tough cases later,
Can we still come to you for help?
no problem, hit me up anytime you need help. What? Shocking. The horrific serial murder case has actually been solved. The news quickly caused a massive sensation among the public, and immediately shot to the top of the news headlines. Famous writer surnamed Luo turns out to be a perverted killer. Luo hunted for creative inspiration by committing brutal murders. The perverted serial murder case has finally closed. Plots in Luo's horror novels are actually based on his real crimes. Back at my place, I first released the female ghost soul from purgatory, then caught up on some sleep. It was already night when I woke up. I noticed the golden merit light on me was obviously much denser than before. This physical body is still too weak right now. I need to step up my cultivation. I used stones on the terrace to set up a small spirit gathering array. I sat at the core of the array to meditate and regulate my breath. After a whole night of cultivation, a layer of impurities was discharged from my body. I instantly felt as light and agile as a swallow, and my spiritual power improved a lot compared to before. The days after that were pretty nice and relaxed. Aside from eating, I spent almost all day and night cultivating on the terrace. I binged some shows in my free time. A month passed like this. My spiritual power finally improved significantly. I can easily deal with ordinary ghosts now. One night, I walked out of the residential compound in a great mood and headed straight for the bustling snack street, planning to treat myself to a nice meal. When I was eating barbecue skewers, I saw a person in a frog mascot costume carrying a bunch of small frog balloons sit down on the steps across the street. Judging by his height, it was probably a man. I stared at him and shook my head silently in my mind. Where did this unlucky kid come from? The bad luck on him is visible even from far away. So I do a good deed every day. Since I ran into him, I might as well help him out. I walked over and sat down next to him. I took a piece of paper out of my small cloth bag and unfolded it in front of him. Fortune-telling and divination. 500 yen per divination, no pay if I'm wrong. The man was stunned for a second and curled his lips. You're drowning in bad luck right now. You've definitely had non-stop bad luck these past few days. If you put this off any longer, you might even lose your life. If you really don't want a reading, I'll just leave. I pretended to get up as I finished speaking. My words made the man shiver all over. He held the frog headpiece and looked at me with a look like he'd just seen a ghost. The man's name was Wang Chengfeng. He was a college student. He usually did part-time jobs in his free time to earn living expenses. He'd been super unlucky for no reason these past few days, and almost died multiple times. The formerly cheerful, handsome young man now had deep-set eyes and looked extremely haggard. I'll do it, I want a reading. I sat back down. Pay first. 500 yen. The man fumbled to take out his phone to transfer the money. After receiving the money, I spoke up. Tell me, what have you been going through lately? We all drank a bit too much that day. My boss even called a designated driver for us to drop me off on the way. My boss chatted with me a lot on the ride. He asked about my age, birth year, and stuff like that. Now that I think back, it seems like right after that party, I started having the worst luck ever. All kinds of terrible things happened to me. At first, they were just small issues. At worst, I got chased and bitten by a dog. Deals I already closed fell through for all sorts of reasons. I thought I was just having a bad streak lately, so I took a few days off to rest. I hadn't seen Liu Chung for a while anyway, so I went to his place to visit him. I only found out when I arrived that Liao Chung was sick, and he was really sick. He was lying in bed, so skinny he was completely unrecognizable. His cheeks were all sunken and his parents told me through tears. They had no idea what had happened either. When the hospital contacted them, he was already unconscious. Wang Chengfeng paused for a moment and continued speaking. He was kept under observation in the ER for a week. They couldn't find anything wrong with him at all. They had to take him home to rest and recover. His mom was talking when she suddenly stared at me for quite a while, asked for my date and time of birth, and asked if I was willing to help Liao Cheng. Of course I was willing. So I asked how I could help. She said I had very strong positive energy. Asked me to stay the night with Liao Cheng. So Liao Cheng could get some of my positive energy, and that might help him get better. I didn't think too much about it. I thought it was just sharing a bed for one night, no big deal. So I agreed right away. That night I slept in the same bed as Liao Cheng. His mom tied a red string around both mine and Liao Cheng's wrists. She said this way my positive energy could pass to him, and Liao Cheng might get better. I remember it was super cold that night, especially the arm with the red string tied around it. It was so cold it went completely numb. It was the middle of the night. I felt too awkward to ask for another blanket, so I toughed it out until dawn. The next day, Liao Cheng's mom wanted to thank me. She cooked a whole table of delicious food and made me eat my fill before I left. A few days later, Liao Cheng miraculously recovered, but I was already having really bad luck back then. Ever since Liao Cheng got better, my luck got even worse, hit absolute rock bottom. Wang Chengfeng held the frog headgear. His face was full of fear. He swallowed and continued speaking. Yesterday I was walking along just fine. A car suddenly came straight at me. Luckily I dodged really fast. Or I would have lost my life right there. It's like they won't stop until I'm dead. Master Lu, can you help me check this? What on earth is going on here? Did I provoke some kind of unclean spirit? I looked at the two streams of dark energy swirling around him. I sighed. You poor unlucky guy. Someone stole your luck? You originally had pretty good fortune. First, part of your luck was secretly stolen by the real estate agency's boss without you knowing. Then you took on all the misfortunes of the very sick Liao Cheng. As the saying goes, don't get involved in other people's karma easily. You helped someone get through a hard time, so you have to bear their disasters yourself. The fact that you're still alive right now is pretty much a miracle. What does stealing luck mean? A person's fortune isn't fixed. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down. Some people have amazing luck. Everything goes their way. Other people have terrible luck. They run into obstacles everywhere they go. So some people with bad luck will try to find ways to change their own fortune. That's what we call luck stealing. Is there any way to get my luck back? Yes, as I said that, I raised my hand and tapped Wang Chengfeng's shoulder lightly. He spat out a mouthful of murky gunk with a retch. There we go. You'll be fine now that you've spat out that bad luck. Your fortune will gradually get better from now on. This peace talisman is waterproof and fireproof. Carry it with you at all times. It will help you restore your fortune. Don't go back to that real estate company again. The boss has evil intentions. He will get his own bad karma sooner or later. Also, don't contact your friend Liao Cheng for the time being. Thank you, Master Lu. I already quit my job. I definitely won't go back to that company again. Wang Chengfeng nodded repeatedly. After throwing up, he felt obviously much lighter in his body. No need to be polite. This peace talisman costs 500 yen. I already transferred the money to you. Oh right, Master Lu. Does that mean if someone suddenly falls unconscious for no reason, their luck was stolen? Not always. I have to see the person in person to judge. Why? Is there someone else in your family who's unconscious? Wang Chengfeng hesitated for a moment. He pulled up a photo on his phone and handed it to me. He's a classmate of mine. He suddenly fell into a coma out of nowhere. Could there be something wrong with him too? I glanced at the photo quickly. It was a young man lying in a hospital bed. Thick, dark ki surrounded his whole body. You guessed right. His condition is really off, and it's way worse than yours. Worse than mine. Do you remember if he recently ran into any weird stuff, went to any unusual places, or met any strange people or touched odd objects? I can't think of anything off the top of my head. If something big happened to him, he usually tells me about it. I really can't recall anything unusual. He just got sick out of the blue. It's super suspicious. One second he was talking to me, the next he passed out and didn't wake up. It was pretty scary. Is it okay if I take a look at your dorm? You don't have to go inside. Just turn on a video call and show me around. Sure, no problem. I'll head back to the dorm right now. Wang Chengfeng took off the mascot costume. He carefully tucked the peace talisman into his pocket and patted it twice gently. Then he started packing up his stuff, getting ready to head back.
Have you ever wondered
Why you always get out of danger safely? Every time something bad happens, Why? Is it 'cause I'm tough? Ugh, this is a pain to pack. Of course not. Someone's been protecting you from the shadows. Someone's protecting me? Who? I definitely need to thank her properly. I gave a mysterious smile. You'll find out later. Let's head back to the dorm first. All right. After Wang Chengfeng left, I looked at the gray-haired old lady following behind him and said gently, "Don't worry, he'll be safe from now on. Come with me." The old lady smiled and nodded at me. Wang Chengfeng's dorm was pretty tidy, except there was no one inside right then. He took out his phone and started a video call with me. "Master Lu, no one else is here. I bet they're out with their girlfriends." As he spoke, he held up his phone and panned slowly around the dorm. I looked carefully at the dorm's interior. When my eyes suddenly locked on one bunk bed, I frowned slightly. Strong evil qi was lingering around this bunk. There were also traces of used talismans here. I asked in a serious tone, "Whose top bunk is that by the window?" "That's my best buddy Li Cheng's bed. The guy I told you about who got sick suddenly." "What's wrong? Is there something off about it?" Wang Chengfeng saw how serious I looked and scrambled back 2 steps in a panic. "Master Lu, is Li Cheng really in big trouble?" I nodded slowly. Wang Chengfeng panicked immediately, his voice even shaking a little. "Master Lu, you have to save him, please. Li Cheng is my sworn brother." I comforted him. "Don't worry. Tell me everything you know in detail first. Li Cheng and I were born on the exact same day, same year, same month. We're also neighbors. We're super close. About a week ago, we went to the cafeteria to eat together. He'd only taken 1 bite when he suddenly collapsed face down on the table. I was so scared back then. I thought there was something wrong with the food. I rushed him to the hospital right away. But ever since then, he hasn't woken up at all. The doctors can't find what's wrong with him either. Before this happened, I really didn't notice anything off about him. I've been thinking these past few days, did Li Cheng and I accidentally mess with something unclean without knowing it? Look how unlucky I've been lately. And he suddenly fell into a coma too. This is so creepy, Master Lu. Do you think that's what happened? I confirmed firmly, there really is something wrong with his condition. To be precise, this isn't a regular sickness. It's not a sickness, Master Lu? Then how do we save him? Just tell me what to do, I'll do anything. If I can't do it, his parents definitely can. I thought for a moment and said, his condition is pretty special. I need to see him in person to be sure. That's easy, I'll take you to see him right now. I checked the time, it was 8:40 p.m. If we go over now, will we disturb them? No, Li Cheng is in the hospital right now. The inpatient department allows visits anytime. Okay, come pick me up then. I've agreed. Wang Chengfeng rode his electric scooter and gave me a ride. We sped all the way to the hospital where Li Cheng was staying. With the safety talisman I gave him, Wang Chengfeng felt way lighter all over. After riding for over 20 minutes, we arrived at the downtown hospital. The inpatient department was dead quiet. You could barely hear any noise. Li Cheng was in a private ward. Hearing someone come in, Wang Mei quickly wiped the corners of her eyes. She turned around and saw it was Wang Chengfeng, bringing a young man with him. She thought he was their son's classmate. The couple didn't ask any more questions. Li Bishan looked haggard. Xiaowang, it's so late. What are you doing here? Is this your classmate? Hello, Uncle and Auntie. This is Master Lu. He's really awesome. He could tell right away that Li Cheng's illness isn't normal. I specially invited him over to take a look. Seeing how young I am, they just thought the kids were messing around. They sighed. Xiaowang, we know you care about Nanan. We really appreciate your kindness. But it's not safe out at night. Go back early after you see Nanan. Just then, an old man walked in from behind. Master Lu, what are you doing here? I greeted him with a smile. Sir, we meet again. Great, Master Lu. I've finally found you. I've been looking all over the streets for you these past 2 days. I couldn't find you anywhere. I was so worried, the old man said as he turned to look at his son. Seeing he was still zoning out, he said annoyed, This is Master Lu I told you about. What are you standing there dumbly for? Hurry up and say hello to Master Lu. Li Bishan looked me up and down carefully. His dad had mentioned before that he met a really powerful master at the steamed bun shop who was just like a living immortal. His fortune-telling was super accurate. He thought it was pretty amazing back then. Then his son got sick. The old man kept talking all day about finding this fortune teller, saying he could save their kid. He never expected it would be this. Young, clean-cut guy in front of him. Wang Mei quietly tugged on Li Bishan's sleeve. He couldn't resist his dad's sharp gaze. He had to greet me somewhat awkwardly. The old man was so worried he got blisters on the corner of his mouth. "I didn't expect you'd come here yourself, Master Lu." "Please take a look quickly. Did my grandson run into evil spirits?" Li Huowang quickly pulled his son aside and led me to the hospital bed. I only took one look at Li Cheng. I already knew what was going on. Someone is stealing his lifespan. What? Stealing lifespan? I nodded. Some people will do anything to avoid dying. They use evil curses to transfer other people's lifespan to themselves. That's what we call lifespan stealing. Li Huowang was shocked and furious. Which wicked son of a bitch did this? My grandson is the apple of my eye. How dare he steal my grandson's lifespan? I'll fight him to the death. As soon as I finished speaking, Wang Mei burst into tears immediately. She stared at me desperately. "Master Lu, he's our only son. Please, no matter what, save him. You have to save him." Li Bishan put his arm around his wife's shoulders and patted her gently a few times. Then he turned to the furious old man to persuade him. "Calm down first, Dad. Let's hear what the master has to say. Sir, the talisman I gave you before. Has your grandson been carrying it with him all the time?" "Yes, he's had it on him this whole time." Li Huowang reached into his grandson's pocket. He only pulled out a handful of ash from the burnt talisman. He refused to give up and felt around again. Still nothing but ash. What's going on here? "Why is there only ash left?" "He didn't want to carry it at first. I said I'd cut off his allowance. That's why he agreed to carry it. Do talismans turn to ash when they're used up?" I explained. After someone tried to steal his lifespan, he should have died right on the spot. That talisman blocked the disaster for him. That's why he's only in a coma now. "Master Lu, can you wake my son up?" Wang Mei's eyes were filled with tears. She looked at her son on the bed, heartbroken. I nodded and said yes. I raised my hand and drew a talisman in the air. The talisman turned into a stream of light and flew above Li Cheng. It suddenly grew to the size of a human. It emits a soft golden glow and slowly sinks into Li Cheng's body. Wang Chengfeng's eyes are almost popping out of his head, staring at Li Cheng on the bed with his mouth wide open. Li Bishan and Wang Mei's minds seem to stop working all of a sudden, and they stare at their son in a daze. Li Huowang is a bit better than them. Only his legs feel a little weak, and he can barely stand steady. Li Cheng on the bed moves a little and slowly opens his eyes, only to see a bunch of people staring right at him, and he jumps in fright. "You guys, why are you all staring at me like that?" It's super creepy. Wang Mei comes back to her senses and is about to throw herself at her son, but Li Huowang beats her to it. "My precious grandson, thank God you're finally awake. You scared your grandpa half to death." After they calmed down a little, I continued speaking. "Life borrowing is an extremely vicious, forbidden spell. To solve this problem completely, we must find the person who cast the spell behind the scenes and break the spell." I thought for a moment and asked, "Does someone in your family die accidentally?" "Every few years. Now that you mention it, that's exactly what happened." "Even Master Lu can figure this out. That's so amazing." Li Huowang has 2 brothers, and he is the youngest. His eldest brother, Li Jiawang, has 2 sons and a daughter. The eldest son fell off the roof while repairing it years ago and died from the accident. A few years later, the second son died of a sudden heart attack at a young age. His second brother, Li Xingguo, has a son and a daughter. Their son was in a bus rollover accident a few years ago, and he was the only one who died in the whole bus. They all thought something was off. The 3 Li brothers discussed it together and suspected there might be something wrong with their ancestral grave. So they found someone to invite a feng shui master, picked a new auspicious site and moved the grave. They also adjusted the feng shui of all their houses. They only relaxed after making sure both the yin and yang residences were fine. Everything was peaceful for the next 2 years, and everyone thought the problem was solved. But no one expected his grandson to have an accident again. Li Bishan thought back to what I just said and asked tentatively, "Were they all victims of the life-borrowing spell too?" I replied firmly, "Cut the were they part? They were definitely killed by the life-borrowing spell." Wang Mei was terrified by what I said and held her son's hand tightly. "That's so serious. Is my son in any danger then?" "Don't worry. His life is not at risk. Do you have any very elderly elders in your family? They have to be direct blood relatives." After I asked this question, though everyone didn't understand what I meant, They still thought hard about it. Uncle Lee thought for a long time and said, I have a cousin uncle. He's the oldest one. He's 90 this year. No, that person should be over 100 years old. Think again carefully. Li Huowang racked his brains but couldn't think of anyone that old in the family. He had no choice but to call his eldest brother and explain the situation. Eldest brother Li also thought for a long time and suddenly thought of someone. Third brother, we seem to have a great aunt in the family. She seems pretty old. She must be over 100 years old, right? She's Dafeng's mom. Think again. Didn't she pass away a long time ago? No, someone saw her back in the village a while ago. After hanging up the phone, Li Huowang looked at me. He had turned on the speakerphone, so I obviously heard the whole conversation too. I nodded. That should be her. Can we find her? I don't know where she is right now, but I met Dafeng a long time ago. And I know she has a younger son. Maybe we can get in touch with him. I nodded when I heard that. Okay, let's try to contact him. We'll go back to our hometown tomorrow to check. Since someone saw her back in the village, she might be in the old house. Li Huowang went through a lot of trouble and finally got in touch with Dafeng's younger son Li Wan. After all, it's someone else's old house. It's not appropriate for us to go by ourselves. It's better to bring him along to check the old house together. After leaving the hospital, I bought some yellow paper and cinnabar and went home to draw a lot of talismans overnight. The life borrowing spell on Li Cheng didn't succeed. The other party definitely won't let it go. They'll either find someone else to target or come up with another plan. So we must find the spellcaster as soon as possible. There's bound to be a conflict later. Prepare more talismans. It never hurts to be prepared. Early the next morning, Li Bishan drove to pick up Li Wan. The four of them hurried non-stop to their old hometown. Li Huowang's hometown is in Ligia village of a neighboring city. It's not too far from Jinjiang City. It's about an hour's drive away. He took out 3 peace talismans, carefully folded them into triangles, and handed them to everyone one by one, and told them to keep the talismans close to their bodies. Thank you, Master Lu. Li Huowang acted like he got a priceless treasure and put it very carefully into his inner coat pocket. Li Bishan also carefully put his into his zipped pants pocket. Li Wan had never met me before. Even though Old Man Li said I was a very powerful master, she was still half doubtful about me. She didn't think too much of it and just stuffed the talisman behind her phone case. After a long silence, Li Wan told a little-known story from the past. It all started decades ago. One night at midnight, my father Li Guan got up to get water because he was thirsty. He opened the door and saw his mother kneeling, kowtowing at the door of his bedroom. Even as ignorant as Li Guan was, he knew if an elder kowtows to a junior, the junior will have their lifespan shortened. He immediately had a big fight with his mother. After that, his mother never kowtowed again. Li Guan thought the matter was over, but half a year later, his 7-year-old son was climbing a haystack to play. The haystack suddenly collapsed. The child was trapped under it and suffocated to death. The heartbroken Li Guan and his wife noticed his mother's originally gray hair had suddenly turned black, and the wrinkles on her face had reduced a lot. She looked a good 10 years younger all of a sudden. Li Guan thought this was fishy. During an argument with his mother, he noticed on her neck she wore a black jade pendant. There seemed to be words carved on it. Li Guan yanked it off her and was stunned when he saw what it said. It was actually his son's birth date and time carved on it. Li Guan felt like he'd fallen into an ice cave and questioned his mother if his son's death was related to her. So what if it was, I gave birth to you. I gave all of you your lives. I'm just taking it back now.
What's wrong with that?
The couple cried in each other's arms all night. Later, Li Guan and his wife moved to another city and cut off all contact with his mother from then on. A few years later, the couple had a son in their old age and had another son named Li Wan. When Li Wan was 4 years old, Li Guan died in an accident. When Li Wan turned 20, his grandmother also died of cancer. Maybe the old lady didn't know Li Wan existed, so she's lived safely up until now. My mom told me all this before she died. She always thought my dad's death and her own illness were both related to my grandma, so she told me I must never go back to my hometown no matter what, and not to contact anyone from the village. As for the life-stealing stuff, I never really believed in it. As time went by, I gradually forgot about it. I haven't been back to the village in all these years, so I have no idea what's happened there. When you guys found me yesterday, I immediately remembered this whole thing. Sai, I hope I'm just overthinking it. Old man Li was so angry he stamped his feet, waving his arms around and swearing. He wished he could strangle that old woman right then. What kind of damn mother is that? Even a vicious tiger won't eat its own cubs. She actually tried to steal her own grandson's lifespan. She's worse than an animal. After ruining her own family, she went to harm other people too. Why won't the heavens strike her dead with lightning? A cold glint flashed in my eyes, but my voice was unusually calm. No problem, if heaven won't take her, then I will. Li Bishan was also full of rage, but he was holding the steering wheel so he couldn't make big movements, so he could only curse a few times along with his dad. Li Wan looked extremely ashamed. No matter what, she was her own grandmother after all. Doing something like this made her feel so embarrassed she wanted to disappear. I saw how uncomfortable she was. Every debt has its debtor. This has nothing to do with you. You don't need to blame yourself. When old man Li was done cursing, he turned to comfort Li Wan nephew. Don't take it to heart. Just pretend you don't have this relative, and don't feel guilty for the sins she committed. You're a victim too. The over 1 hour drive was not too far, but not too close either. The group soon arrived at Ligia village. The village was full of narrow alleys. The closer they got to the Li family's old house, the more clearly I could feel a cold, eerie aura. Until I stood right in front of that old house, the raging, malevolent energy inside was almost tangible. It spread all around the entire residence. I took a quick glance around. A flicker of coldness crossed my eyes. There's something evil in this house. Eldest Li and second Li knew their youngest brother was coming back today. They brought people to wait at the gate bright and early. They knew the life-borrowing matter was extremely important. They didn't dare slack off. When they saw old man Li, both of them hurried over to greet him. Hey, third brother's here? Where's the master you invited? Eldest Li's gaze swept over the group. He mistook Li Wan for the master. He rushed forward to shake hands. Old man Li stopped him, pointed at me and said, Wrong, this is Uncle Defeng's youngest son, Li Wan. This is Master Lu. Eldest Li and second Li looked stunned. They looked me up and down. Their faces were full of disbelief. Third brother, I knew you were unreliable. Good thing I planned ahead. I invited another Taoist priest. Otherwise, today's matter would definitely be screwed up. Second brother, don't be rude to the master. Age doesn't equal skill. Don't look down on Master Lu. He's really capable. Only then did I notice standing behind the two of them, a man wearing a Taoist robe. He didn't look very old, around a little over 30 years old. His hair was tied in a Taoist bun. He carried a peachwood sword on his back. A faint aura of Taoist magic surrounded him. Along with golden light of accumulated merit, he must have some Taoist skills. But they aren't very profound. That young Taoist was also observing me. He keenly sensed the spiritual energy coming off me. He didn't expect this young guy to have such great cultivation at such a young age. His spiritual power seemed quite pure, too. We made eye contact once. Both of us had a rough idea of each other's strength. We knew we were fellow practitioners. The young Taoist gave a polite Taoist greeting first. I'm Mao Xiaofan. I was hired by Mr. Li to get rid of the evil energy here. This is Master Lu. I specially invited him to break the evil curse on my grandson. Then eldest Li spoke up. Now that both of you are here, let's go inside and check it out together. More people means more backup. We'll pay both of you for your services. The group walked into the yard. The yard was overgrown with weeds. Clearly no one had taken care of it for a long time. Mao Xiaofan also sensed the thick evil energy. He looked around warily. Li Wan was about to push open the main house door when the door suddenly opened on its own. An icy wind from out of nowhere swept violently towards everyone. The strong wind carried sand and dust. It was so strong no one could keep their eyes open. I wasn't affected at all. I looked straight into the house. A dark shadow suddenly darted out, rushed straight for Li Wan's chest. Mao Xiaofan reacted super fast. He pulled Li Wan behind him and drew his peachwood sword to stab the shadow. The next second, a shrill scream rang out. The shadow retreated again and again in pain. After the shadow stopped moving, the icy wind gradually died down. When everyone saw what was in front of them, they all gasped in unison. What kind of monster is that? When Mao Xiaofan saw what the shadow looked like, he couldn't help cursing out loud. At the same time, Li Bishan pulled the other old men back several steps in terror. Is that a human or a ghost? An unusually large, burly mandrill was squatting there. Its face was covered with weird red and blue markings. It had a tuft of orange goatee on its chin. It was clutching its injured front paw right now, making weird hissing noises. I spoke up. This is a mandrill that grew up eating rotting corpses and absorbing ghosts. It's extremely yin and evil. This thing is vicious and violent. It's also super fast. Everyone be extremely careful. Don't get scratched or bitten by it. Its claws and teeth are highly poisonous. Hearing that, the three old men immediately ran all the way outside the gate and sink. They clung to the doorframe, peeking inside nervously. Slowly appearing behind the mandrill was an old lady with white hair and a young-looking face. The yin energy on her was several times thicker than the mandrill's. She was staring at everyone right now, with a pair of vicious, cold eyes. "You're Li-Wan?" Li-Wan looked at her in disbelief. You're my grandma that I've never met. Based on her age, she should be 103 years old by now. But she has even fewer wrinkles than Li-Wan, and actually looks younger than her. I'm Li-Wen. Li-Quan is my father. Didn't expect he left a little brat like you alive. What a waste if I'd known you existed. I wouldn't have had to look for someone else. The old woman let out 2 creepy laughs. She raised her hand and gathered a ball of dark ki, slowly channeled it into the mandrill's body. The mandrill absorbed the dark ki ecstatically. The wounds on its front limbs healed at a visible rate. It was fully recovered in the blink of an eye. Holy crap, that worked just like that. Master, oh master. You really screwed me over this time. You said this was going to be a piece of cake. This is clearly a death mission. I'm done for, so done for. I, your Taoist grandpa, am probably going to die here today. My face stayed completely calm. I slowly walked over to stand next to Mao Xiaofan. Mao Xiaofan glanced at me beside him and swallowed hard. He forced himself to speak up. Fellow Taoist Lu, don't panic. If we work together, we can definitely take down this evil monster. Roar! The fully healed mandrill. Its eyes suddenly turned blood red, leaped up violently, moving as fast as lightning, and lunged straight for Mao Xiaofan's face to bite him. Mao Xiaofan raised his sword to block. The peachwood sword was jolted right out of his hand. The mandrill swiped its claw at his arm. But the second it touched Mao Xiaofan's body, the golden light on his body crackled loudly and burned the mandrill's claw. A burnt smell spread through the air. The mandrill was in pain and flew into a rage instantly. It bared its fangs and bit hard at Mao Xiaofan's neck, just as those sharp fangs were about to sink into Mao Xiaofan's neck. I raised my right hand, and a golden glowing copper coin flew out of my hand. It hit the mandrill right between the eyebrows. There was a soft popping sound. The mandrill's forehead was pierced straight through. Its movements froze suddenly. Its blood-red eyes were wide open, as if it couldn't believe it was hit in a vital spot so easily. Then its whole body started convulsing violently. Dark chi poured out of its body crazily. It let out a shrill, ear-piercing scream. Its huge body crashed to the ground, kicking up a cloud of dust. That's it. It's dead already. Still in shock, Mao Xiaofan touched his own neck. He confirmed he was unharmed, then looked fearfully at the mandrill corpse on the ground that was rapidly shrinking and turning into a puddle of black water. He then looked over at me, his expression complicated. He knew fellow Taoist Lu was no ordinary person, but he never expected his strength to be this. Terrifying, my gaze sharpened, and I shouted in a low voice, "Watch out!" Almost at the same time, the mandrill died. The old woman let out an extremely venomous scream. She waved her chicken foot-like skinny hand violently, and several icy cold dark ki blades formed, flying silently straight towards Mao Xiaofan, Li Wan, and the few Li family members outside the door. Mao Xiaofan reacted pretty fast, and fumbled to call back his peachwood sword. The blade glowed with a layer of green light, barely blocking the 2 dark ki blades coming at him. But the impact made his hand go numb. He stumbled back several steps. Li Wan wasn't that lucky. She didn't have time to react at all, and could only watch as the dark ki came at her. But right when the dark ki was about to touch Li Wan's body, the peace talisman tucked behind her phone case suddenly burst out with blinding golden light. It formed a thin light shield, protecting her inside. The dark ki hit the light shield, making a hissing sound as it dissolved, disappearing as fast as snow meeting fire. Ah! A pained cry from Li Lauer came from outside the door. He was standing a bit further away, and Li Bishan had pulled him back without thinking, so the dark ki only grazed his arm. The spot on his arm that touched the dark ki instantly turned black and purple. A freezing, excruciating pain shot straight to his head. Li Lauda and Li Huang were protected by peace talismans. A flash of golden light appeared, and the incoming dark key was dispelled. They were completely unharmed. Evil creature. I let out a cold snort, moved in a flash, and stood in front of everyone to block them. I formed a hand seal with both hands, and an even brighter golden talisman seal flew out of my palm. It grew in size as it flew through the air, and soon covered the entire sky above the courtyard. The talisman emitted a vast, pure yang energy, like a scorching sun hanging in the sky. The evil yin key filling the courtyard was hit by the golden light. It vanished right away like boiling water hitting snow, and made a weird sizzling noise before dissipating completely at a fast pace. The old woman was the first to be affected. The moment the pure yang golden light fell on her, the thick dark aura around her churned violently, and she let out an extremely agonized scream. Her originally somewhat young-looking face aged and withered rapidly under the golden light, revealing her true appearance, a 100-year-old crone with wrinkles all over her face, deep sunken eye sockets, and a strong stench of decay all over her body. No, my mana! My youth, using the Qing clan bloodline as the medium, you cast this heaven-defying forbidden spell to harm your own descendants. You deserve death for your unforgivable crimes. My voice was icy cold, without a single trace of emotion. I raised my hand and pointed. The golden talisman seal in the air shrank abruptly and turned into a glowing golden array, slamming down right at the old woman's head. She tried to struggle, bursting out the last wisp of dark aura from her body in an attempt to block the attack. But against the pure yang suppression talisman, this petty resistance was like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. The suppression talisman easily pierced through the dark aura and burned itself onto her forehead. The old woman let out one last shrill scream, as if all moisture in her body had been sucked dry. She shriveled up in an instant, and finally turned into a pile of ash. The remaining golden light in the yard completely purified the ash, leaving not a single trace behind. The gloomy, cold aura in the yard vanished completely. Even the sunlight felt warm again, if it weren't for the remaining black water stains left by the mountain demon and Li Lauer's injured arm. That heart-stopping scene just now would have seemed like it never happened at all. Lauer! Li Lauda and Li Huang hurriedly supported the pale-faced Li Lauer. Mao Xiaofan also hurried over to check Li Lauer's injury. The dark purple part of the wound was slowly spreading upwards, giving off an ominous vibe. This yin poison is really powerful. Let me handle this. I stepped forward, held my two fingers together, and drew an evil-expelling, poison-clearing talisman in the air, then tapped it towards Li Lauer's arm. Golden light seeped into his skin. The dark discoloration faded like a receding tide, and the sharp pain disappeared right after. Li Lauer let out a long sigh of relief, with cold sweat all over his forehead. He kept thanking me nonstop. Thank you so much, Master Lu. Thank you for saving my life, Master Lu. Li Wan stared at the ash on the ground, then touched his fully intact phone case. He was filled with indescribable mixed feelings. He walked up to the pile of ash, stood there silently for a while, and finally bowed deeply. It was both a goodbye and a complete end to this ill-fated bond. I said to all members of the Li family, this matter is now settled. The life-stealing spell has been broken, and its source has been eliminated. Li Cheng and other members of your family won't be harmed anymore. Even though the yin evil energy here is gone, this is still an unlucky haunted house after all. It's not suitable to stay here for long. You'd better not come near here again in the future. All the Li family members were extremely grateful. Old Man Li even took out a thick stack of reward money he had prepared long ago, and insisted on shoving it to me no matter what. Mao Xiaofan also got his own share of the reward. Even though the process was thrilling and dangerous, the end result was satisfying. He did live up to the trust placed in him. Fellow Taoist Lu, your Taoist skills are superb. This poor Taoist is full of admiration. If we meet by fate in the future, I hope you can give me more guidance. You are too polite, fellow Taoist Mao. Thank you for your help today. After saying goodbye to the Li family and Mao Xiaofan, I took the generous reward and headed on my way home fully content. After solving this life-stealing case, I not only helped people in need, but also accumulated a lot more merit. Looking at the bright, glittering lights of the city, I stretched my body lazily. Next, I should go to the snack street to make up for the regret of not eating to my heart's content last night.